Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your podcast host for today's episode. And today on the show, we have Nate Ollestad, CEO of TALNT Team. We're going to be learning about his business, his journey to business ownership, best practices that he's learned along the way, as well as maybe some challenges he's faced to give you that inside look to what it's like to run and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this. Welcome, Nate. It is so great to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Been looking forward to this.
Yes, me too. Well, I'd love to dive in. Share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so CEO of TALNT Team, we are a recruitment agency solution, like talent solution providing company. Been in business for almost 3 years now, but I've been in the industry for about 20 years. Started recruiting like most recruiters do in the agency world. Moved over to the corporate space and spent a good majority of my career there before transitioning out and doing my own thing. I'm a Seattle native and proud Alaska Native American, as I have some of our artwork up there. But I've been in Austin for a little over 11 years now. And as we were just kind of talking before this, got out of some of the cold and into the heat. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing a bit about
Mhm.
yourself and your business. And I'm very curious to your why. Like, what's that inspiration and how did you get into recruiting?
Well, I got into recruiting like all recruiters did by accident. It there's no like career path to get into recruiting. There wasn't back in the day, right? There's
Mm,
no college courses or majors that you get in that you have in college to get into recruiting. So I was a business major, kind of was trying to find what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to do marketing, figured I'd probably end up in sales of some sort, and then met a recruiter, actually managing director of a Robert Half branch in Charlotte, North Carolina. I went to school at Clemson. And so a couple hours up the road, and he just was like, have you ever thought about recruiting? I said, what's that? Right. And so he told me, I went up interviewed, and the rest is history. And ended up joining a temporary staffing firm and didn't really like it all too much. I learned a lot about sales. I learned a lot about myself, kind of threw myself into the deep end into a city I didn't really know many people in. So used what I've always used, and that's building relationships and kind of just figuring it out. So that's how I got into recruiting.
oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the passion just kept going and you know what?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so I kind of felt like I figured out I've always been a connector, right? No matter what I've done, I've always like connected friends with other friends, and whether it be dating or relationships or like helping my friends out if they needed to hire somebody at their pizza shop or whatever, right? So I always knew people and I was connected. I actually got out of recruiting after my year and a half stint or so at Robert Half, got into sales for a little startup, golf marketing company in Charlotte, and then ended up moving back to Seattle after that. Was looking for a job, found somebody who was like, you got to go meet this team. They got a really good group of people. Like, I think you'd really jive with them. And they were my people. And I got in and learned, and it was like a heavy sales environment, right? Like, work hard, play hard. And it just kind of fit. I'm athletic. I've played, collegiate sports. I've played soccer my whole life. And so being in that kind of environment where it's very performance driven was something that kind of always fed that. But the passion really kind of kept me going when I realized that it turned from a job to a career, when I was like, one, I can make good money doing it, and two, I have meaningful relationships with people and I get to learn from people from all different walks of life, what they do, how they operate. And like, I love that. So that's always kept me in it, is the connecting and the helping. is like the why of recruiting for me.
Oh, that's so perfect. I'm a bit of a
Yeah.
connector myself, and it's
Yeah.
so fun to kind of play matchmaker with not just even, in partnerships, but like business, and you never know if
Hmm.
it's gonna be a good fit to connect with someone. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And now kind of looking at what you've built, I'd like to kind of understand your team dynamic. How many team members do you have right now, and kind of what's that team culture look like?
Yeah, so we're still somewhat of a smaller, scrappier team. I have a couple of senior people on the team that lead a couple practices for my business. I have some operations folks and that kind of help with the day-to-day stuff so that we can focus on delivering, to our clients. And so from a culture perspective, like very, it's we try to have fun, we try to be open and honest communication, we try to be supportive. Like this business is a grind, right? Especially if you look at the last 2 or 3 years. We've been through a recession, we're coming out of it. And so you got to be positive, you got to have fun. You gotta like take the good with the bad because there's always going to be bad, right? There's like that rule of three. When something bad happens, like there's probably going to be a couple more things that drop before something good happens, and you just got to know, like, it is what it is, right? And don't be too hard on yourself when things don't go the way you want it to be.
Hmm.
And you learn, right? So like I try to create a culture of learning. Like, how do we learn from our mistakes, right? How do we learn from failures? Because if you don't learn, then you'll keep doing it, right? And so constant improvement, constant learning and growing, and try to like make fun of the daily grind of sometimes of what a sales culture can be, right?
Definitely. I always like to call that
Yeah.
failing forward. It's like you're
Yep.
learning as you go, and sometimes, you gotta fall down to get back up, and you're like, oh, okay, you
Absolutely.
gotta, yeah, for sure. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So team members total are like you mentioned two senior people and a few in office folks.
We have 5 people, but also like
Cool.
I again I know a lot of people. I bring in 1099 consultants to help on when business spikes and I need extra delivery capacity. So again, like it's all like I think having started this company in a recession and
Mhm.
having that like scrappy, nimble mindset has kept me like I've kind of kept that mentality moving forward where I invest where needed. I don't overinvest. I place lots of small bets on things, right?
Mhm.
Knowing that, some aren't going to work out. But, with my network of people and, I can always scale up and scale down as I need to. So, um, I think, some of the areas that like I'll outsource would be like the marketing side, where I don't necessarily need a full-time in-house marketer, but I have consultants and friends that I've met throughout the years where I've either hired at companies that I've worked at, that help do projects with me and whatnot. So yeah, we have about 5 internal, but then scale up and down as I need to with additional consultants.
Oh, that's really cool. I think that again, nimble is a good word. That's like a really big
Yeah.
nugget for sure for other business owners to know is that
Hmm.
flexibility and being able to ebb and flow with the times is so crucial to getting through hard times and celebrating the good ones too.
Absolutely. I mean, a part of my business too is providing recruitment consultants, like fractional to
Hmm.
companies. So I kind of live by my own dog food of the business model that I deliver. Like one of the value props is as your business scales, you may not need a full-time recruiter or fractional head of recruiting. Bring people in like myself and my consultants to help get you through those times, right? You can scale up and scale down. It's been a really big value add to a lot of my clients. So
Oh,
I try to
definitely.
operate the same way. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. That's very cool. And kind of looking at, we touched a little bit on team culture. I'd love to learn about you as a leader and what kind of leadership style you have with your team. So, feel free to like kind of share a little bit what's your leadership style and how do you look at that within your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think my leadership style adapts as it needs to. I don't think there's ever one proper way to lead. Everybody's levers are different. Everybody's motivations are different. So I've always throughout, whether it be my own company or leading large global teams at tech companies, which was what I did prior to starting my own company. I've always been, how does this person need to be led? Right. And like really understanding who they are. Like I'm a big believer in like the strengths finders and things like that, to where you can really understand like, all right, well, this person may not be motivated by money or by whatever. Like they may be motivated by, praise or by accomplishing little things. And so like knowing how to like lean in on those little things. So I'm really big on like open and honest transparency, like and communication. Like anybody who's ever worked for me will tell me that, I'm fair, I'm understanding, but I also hold them accountable and I drive, right? Like I know what needs to be done. And there's a bit of tough love too, where, but like I have to build that trust like with them. They have to know that when I am tough, it's coming from a good place, right? It's coming from a place that I want to see you succeed. I've always led by like, you have my trust to lose, as a, being a leader. And sometimes that works and sometimes that kind of bites me, right? But if that doesn't end up working out, then that's just the wrong person that on my team. I made a wrong hire and I didn't suss that out at the beginning. But I definitely want to lead with trust. And I think that starts from a good place rather than hiring somebody and grinding them at first and seeing if they pass the test, right? Which a lot of people will do. Sometimes that leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, and I don't think that really is good for like long-term growth.
Mm, yeah, that's another golden nugget I think of this conversation is just like looking at that, the holistic of team and culture and how you're pursuing that growth within your company. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And kind of like looking now at what you're projecting outward, so your marketing and what you're doing, let's look at your customers or your clients. Like if I were
Mhm.
to walk in your doors or go on your website, how would I know I'd be an ideal client?
Well, I have three main kind of business areas that we focus on. Um, the recruiting consultants, kind of like the RP, it's kind of like a quasi RPO model. So anybody who needs to scale up recruitment, whether it be recruiting consultants to get you through hiring time, like hiring surges, whether it be talent acquisition leaders that help build functions. I've done a lot of work with early stage startups. I've been the head of talent. I've been the first recruiter at early stage startups. I've helped grow and exit companies before, so I've seen kind of growth through all different phases. So like a company who needs that expertise that understands like there are different talent profiles for different growth stages of a company, and the need for recruitment help to help scale, on a fractional basis. That's one area. The second is, I've gotten in the last year, I've gotten pretty heavily involved into data centers. Just from a macro perspective, there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of investment with the exponential growth of AI. There's, the need for the infrastructure to be able to support that. So we've built out and we're actually launching more dedicated vertical for the data center business. Um, Data center construction, like construction managers and schedulers and people that help actually like make sure data centers are built and on time, like hyperscale data centers for Amazon. Like Amazon's one of our clients, right? And other hyperscalers. Um, so consultants for that or full time, like we do both full time and consultants. Um, so that's been a newer endeavor, and you'll see a lot more of that coming out here shortly. I'm in the process of launching a new website for that and a whole go-to-market strategy around that. And then I've done a lot of work in the energy space. Energy and oil and gas or energy and data centers kind of tie themselves together as well. It takes energy to drive data centers and power them. But I've partnered closely with, I have a good partner named Jeremy Funk, who's in the oil and gas space, who's very well connected in the energy, like startup energy tech space. And so we, over the last 2 or 3 years, we've done a lot of work within those areas. So those are the three areas, and they may not seem as cohesive at the moment, but a lot of the recruiting business is inbound. So it's just my network. People know me for building highly functioning recruiting teams over the years, and I have a really deep network there. But pushing in from, like, if I think about from a macro perspective, right, like where our future is going with this current administration and investing into energy and AI infrastructure like data centers. It is a area where the supply is not as strong as the demand, and that's always a good recipe for success when it comes to running a recruiting business.
Oh, definitely. Well, thank you for sharing the different types of,
Mm.
clients that you're working with and, the growth there. Like looking at your business, I kind of want to look at forward. Like what do you kind of plan for, say, the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, my hopefully is to continue exponential growth, right?
Mhm.
I mean, 22 and 23 were challenging years. I think everybody in my field, and I think everybody across in most sectors, kind of felt the pinch over the last couple of years. But 24 was a good year. We're on track to 2.5x our revenue and growth from 24. My 3 to 5 year plan is to continue this growth, invest in the areas that I just spoke about, build out dedicated teams for each one of those. And I do have practice heads for each one currently, but continue to invest in the deliverability of those practice areas. I would like to say in 5 years or 3 to 5 years that I'm in a position where I can think about what a potential exit might look like. So, like, I always have my goal on that. I have a lot of friends in the space that do M&A within the staffing business. So I have a lot of benchmark data, and keep my eyes on the right financial levers, and the right financials to what an exit may look like at the highest possible multiple. So um, that's my goal, right? I don't always want to be, you know, running a business like in the day-to-day operations. And with that, I think any founder kind of faces this like inflection point of, like, where do you really focus on, like, stop working in your business as much as on your business, right? And that's kind of where I'm at right now, where I still do a decent amount of deliverability myself, but I'm getting the people in place and to where I can kind of have them build and run this business, scale it, understand the objectives and the like the short and medium term goals, and help work more on strategy and scaling the business.
Oh, definitely. I think that's another thing like so many struggle with is that working on the business versus in the business and like finding a healthy harmony with those two. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the challenge, because it's like at a point it's like it's your baby, right? And this, like, it better than anyone else,
Yeah.
and your brand's associated with it too, right? So you always want to make sure that it's everything is up to your par, right? And having to kind of like let go of, there was an article years ago, forgot who it was by, but it was like let go of your Legos, like, and I used to be the head of recruiting at Duo Security, and one of our engineering leaders, like, as we like hit this like massive hyperscale growth, like, it was, in order to scale, you got to let go of your Legos, right? And like, so he passed this article around, and it was really good, and like everyone really resonated with it. And I think more and more people need to do that. And I see a lot of companies fail when founders don't let go of their Legos, and they try to control things, and they become a bottleneck, and not only become a bottleneck, but they like don't empower their people to make decisions. And when you don't empower your people to make decisions, they kind of check out because they're like, well, why am I here if I'm not able to make decisions, right? So I think it's important to give that freedom to your team. Give them the goals, the KPIs, where your company's going, the objectives of what we're trying to hit, and let them go. Whether they fail and learn and succeed, like that's up to you as a leader.
Oh, definitely. I think that's a huge like topic. That could be a whole nother episode just on that for real.
100%. Yeah.
Well, this has been such an enlightening conversation so far, and thank you for sharing everything. And now I kind of want to dive into a fun part of our Q&A. It's called our rapid fire, where I ask you four
Sure.
questions and you answer very top of mind.
Got it. Shoot.
All right. Question number one is, what is the key to success for you?
Oh, keeping a healthy, balanced life. Um, Exercise, diet, sports, family, and just fun outside of all of that, like friends, community. I think all of this, like for me, if I don't do my workout routine in the morning and get my mindset right, go through my routine in the morning, that it's hard to have a really effective day. But then also like I have to know that like I'm looking forward to things outside of work too. That keeps me motivated, whether that's my personal sports that I still play, my children's sports, my family, my friends, finding a good new local brewery to go, finding good food. Like all of our friends, like we're big foodies as well. So like, looking forward to like having community with our group and make good food and have fun. Like for me, that's a balance. Like you have to balance that out. Like you can't over index into work or you burn out. And if you burn out, then your business isn't going to grow. And you're going to be a bad partner at home, a bad father, and a bad friend. All of those things are super important.
100%. That's a great answer. Number two is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Oh, fail fast, pivot. Like that's cliche, but it's so damn true.
So
Like
damn
you
true.
you you gotta take small bets and fail fast and learn and grow and pivot. Also keeping like good mentors and a good community. Like you have to have people that you can bounce ideas off of and gut check you because sometimes like being an owner is lonely, right?
Oh,
And
100%.
it's isolating. And so if you don't have other people in your situation that you can like spot check and just have that community with, um that's a recipe for failure for me.
Oh, same. I'd be lost without my coach for real.
Yep. Yep.
Number three is, it could be a book you've recently read, a podcast you've seen, just something that recently stood out to you.
Oh, no, I'm not a big book reader. I'm very all over the like ADHD, right? So it's hard for me to really like dial in. But I don't know. I like podcasts. Like I'm a big. I just in general. I don't know. Like I'm a big fan of the Sean Ryan podcast. He has a lot of good guests on there. I think he has a lot of good like military guests, like SEAL leaders and things like that. Like so. I mean, I think just in general, like I enjoy listening to his podcasts. There's a plethora of things. I can't not one thing really jumps out to me in terms of like like a certain episode, but I mean it's just in general he's got a lot of good guests that I enjoy listening to and learn little tidbits from.
Cool. I dig that. Always down for a new podcast.
Yeah.
Uh, and final question is, if you could wave a magic wand and overnight improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
Marketing and sales.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as a business owner, I would say, and just been doing what I'm doing for so long, I'm really good at sales and closing. I'm not good at marketing and business development.
Mm.
That's something that I've been trying to solve for. I've taken strides forward, but like if I could wave a magic wand, like that 100% would be it.
Definitely. Well, thank you for sharing those four rapid fire questions. Before we get to our final question, let's help you out with your marketing now. How can people connect with your business online?
Absolutely. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn. You can go to my website. That's talent.team. That's TALNT, no E, dot TEAM. You like I'm not as big on Twitter or anything, so I'm not as, I'm not very active there, but yeah, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I have pretty good community there that I connect with. Or you can email me at nate@talent.team.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nate, for sharing that. Definitely excited to stay connected. And our final question today is, what is most inspiring to you today?
Man, that's a big question, right? Um, Staying present and finding happiness in all the things. That's something that is most inspiring to me, and that I you have to constantly work at.
Mm,
Every day is different, but finding the good things in life every day that fill your bucket.
definitely. I think that's so inspiring. Thank you so much, Nate. It's been such a joy to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.